Welcome back to the 2 Months Podcast presented by Shadified Salon and Barbershop. I'm your host, Joshua Marshall. We have former NHL president, general manager, and head coach, Doug MacLean, back with us. Mac, how's it going?
Good, good.
That's good.
Daylight saving time is tough.
Yeah,
A
it
couple of
screwed.
takes a couple of days to adjust.
Yeah, no, don't worry. It screwed me up this morning too. When to get this recording done, I screwed up too. So don't worry. It's whenever we got her done, we're here. So it does take a few days to get adjusted to. Hopefully they'll change that at some point. I know a lot of people are complaining about it, but it's another thing people can complain on social media about, right? So
Well, it really throws me off because yeah, I play golf at 7 o'clock on Sundays and Wednesday mornings.
yeah,
Well, it was too dark. We had to turn it to 7:30 yesterday till sunlight.
yeah,
So it really screwed up my day yesterday with my tee times.
yeah. No,
Serious stuff. Serious
yeah,
stuff.
those are big things we gotta take care of, right? So we can't
I
have these
know
things
exactly,
happening. So,
exactly.
how is your golf game, by the way? What's the best round you've ever shot?
You know, I never really played a whole lot of golf, and then when I retired, I got into it. And the first time I went to play with the guys, I was a 27 handicap. No, I was 90s. Now I'm 14, and I'm consistently in the 80s pretty well. So I mean, I'm still not a very good golfer, but I enjoy it. And it's what's the best thing about golf is I play with three guys, and we play every Sunday and Wednesday.
Yeah,
We have a little bit of small wagering, and one guy's a former NFL referee. A couple guys are former car executive. So we have a ball. It's just a great
great.
way to start off a couple of days. So
Yeah,
I'm having fun with it.
that's
I'm
good.
still no damn good, but at least I can play.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I'm still no good.
As I said to them yesterday when I was leaving, I said, "Look, boys, I won $18 today. That means I'm on my way to get either a nice omelet, some bacon, some sausage, and I'd really appreciate the hash browns that you guys paying for it. That's essentially what I'm doing,
Yeah.
guys. So I appreciate the $18.
Nice. Yeah. And 20 cents,
So
right? So
exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Right on. So I guess it's good to have you back. I always appreciate you joining us. It means a lot. And we'll jump right into things here. It's we're gonna kind of ring it back a bit, and we're gonna go like Rogers Sportsnet Central here, where or Hockey Central at noon, where we talk about the Leafs. So get a good
Oh
chance.
man.
Yeah. So
Thank God. Thank God I'm not doing that show anymore. The Leafs would have had me fired by now if I was still doing Hockey Central at noon. There's no doubt about that.
uh,
Shanahan would have been phoning the president of Rogers to get me removed.
yeah, yeah. If you watched the game yesterday, he didn't look too happy in that shot with Kyle Dubas there. But I get, and we got free reign here. We could say whatever. You ain't gonna get fired on this one. But no, and I'm a Leaf fan, so this one's a little bit close to home, I guess. And trying to not be as
Look,
biased, but it's not
I'll
good right
be
now.
because of you.
Yeah.
You, if I was just with Millard and Kiprios, it would be wide open. But because I know your affection for the Leafs, I will be just averagely critical of them.
No, I want you
I
to be
don't want to. I don't want to ruin your day.
No, no, it's already ruined with them losing already. It's crazy right now. And then Matthews going to get suspended here, but I guess we'll jump with the first thing with Matthews. He has a hearing today, later probably this afternoon. But my guess is 2 games, Mac. I don't know where you stand on that, how much you saw of it, and what you're
Yeah,
thinking. Yeah,
I didn't like it. I know. Look, the guy gets a ton of attention because he's so darn good.
hmm
It's and you know what? It's going to get worse at playoff time. I mean, if you're coaching against Matthews, you have got to do everything within the legal bounds of the game to get this guy off his game because he is the driver of this hockey team. He and Marner have driven this team for months. Really, they have, and,
oh yeah,
and full marks to him. So you're, for a guy like Austin Matthews, who we don't see the frustration very often, it boiled over. I didn't like it. You never like a cross check to the neck, head area. I think he gets. They're going to give him the least they can possibly give him within the bounds of their criteria.
Yeah.
Because he's never done anything like this before. I mean, does he get a game or two? I think that's probably what it is. For me, with a guy that takes the punishment he takes, I don't know if that comes into play. Probably doesn't. I would give him a game, but he might get two.
Yeah. Yeah, and and I didn't like it either. On that tweet that NHL player safety had tweeted out, there were some interesting trends on the bottom there. If you get caught down a rabbit hole, you can check it out. But it's there's quite a few incidents that are only fine worthy, that are also pretty bad
right.
too. But I don't know, like if
and maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's a fine because he's a first time offender. Maybe it is. It's just when it's a stick to that area.
Yeah,
they don't like that.
No, they don't. And Nima Leinen for the Oilers had one earlier this year, and he just got a fine. I think it was Dubois he got in the face. But yeah, it's typically usually when they hand out the fine, they just say, "Here's the fine." I don't know in history when the NHL player safety tweets out saying that the player has a hearing, it usually follows up with a fine. It usually follows up with a 1 or 2 or 5 games.
And that's what bothered me when I saw the fact that I saw Chris Johnston tweeted last night about the hearing. That made me a little nervous that he's going to get something.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
We'll see.
Yeah,
and you know what? Does it come into play that it's on such a big stage? It's on TNT.
Yeah,
TV in Canada. I mean, does the NHL take that into consideration?
Yeah.
They wouldn't like it, especially when he's maybe the best player in the game right now, or the top 2 or 3 best players in the game in the world.
Yeah. And maybe at the end of the day for him, this might create him some more space, but I don't know if that's really going to, because again, like you pointed out, in the playoffs, he's going to be, pushed. And now that you've maybe seen something, maybe they call it a weakness or not. If we push him, he might go over the edge. I don't know. Like we'll see what happens. It's
I don't see that with Austin, because this guy's been pushed and prodded since he was 6 years of age.
Yeah.
And he's been the best player in every team he's been on forever. I don't see it really affecting him long term. I'll tell you what it might do. There's 2 things say he gets a couple of games. First of all, I said he's the driver of the team. They can't afford to lose him for a couple of games. And especially with Boston 2 points behind them in the wild card spot. This is critical, a critical 20-game stretch for this hockey team. And, a couple of games, maybe the guys will step up. Sometimes they do. But this is getting to a critical point when you see the Boston Bruins 2 points behind them.
Yeah,
for the wild card.
And they had a good gap on the Bruins too, and they've come on. Obviously, Tuukka came back, and then now Tuukka's gone. But it's Tampa's, they're there too. But there was a big win for them last night. But we know Tampa's gonna. We're not have to worry about them. They'll be them, and they'll do their things. But it's Toronto, and I guess we'll just turn it to the goaltending situation. Like this is bad right now. I don't know. The last night's game, it was, there's some lucky goals going on, but how concerned are you going forward, for the Leafs, into this 20-game stretch and then into the playoffs? They're obviously going to make the playoffs the way that things are working out east, but it's where they finish and who they play in the first round is big. But right now, I'm as a Leaf fan, or in the media side of it, I would be concerned for them. This trend, they've only had 1 month out of all the months right now with a save percentage of over 900. It's crazy that they're a top 6 team in the NHL with an 8. I think it was like an 890 save percentage. It's just not good. So where do you stand?
Well, I'll tell you where I stand on it. I watched Jack Campbell for years, and when I saw them pick him up, I thought, okay, Dubas knows him. It's a reasonable backup pickup. I saw him as a backup pickup strictly. I never envisioned that Freddie Anderson, who was much maligned, would move on, and Jack Campbell, with 0 NHL experience in the playoffs, would become their number 1 goaltender. I never envisioned that. I probably should have, but I even thought if Freddie went, they would acquire a number one goaltender,
Yeah.
not Jack Campbell, who with a fairly lengthy career and no playoff success whatsoever, and limited regular season success, to be quite honest. So then Jack comes in and plays pretty well. And great start to the season. But we still have to go back and say, how much playoff experience has he got for a contender, for a team that believes they're a contender? You're never a contender in the NHL unless you typically have great goaltending.
Correct.
So Jack does a great job. I'm on Kiprio's show and Bourne, and they're talking about a $6 million deal for him. I said, are you guys serious? Like, are you really serious that that's what this is going to take to keep Jack Campbell? Yeah, he was on a roll. He was playing great. But mentally, I'm not sure if he can handle it. You know, he's hard on himself. He's very hard. I don't mean he has, I mean, he's just hard on
Yeah,
himself.
and we can hear that in the media, right? So
right, you
yeah.
can hear it in the media. You start to hear, you know. So then that's fine. Jack has a great start, and he's really good. And I'm feeling, okay, Jack Campbell. Hey, maybe Dubas is got it right here. He had him in Sault Ste. Marie. We always loved the guys we used to have. Then they signed Mrazek, $0.9 million. I'm thinking, okay, why don't I like this signing? Because I've never been a fan of Mrazek. I know he had a couple of runs. I get it.
Yep.
I get it. He had a couple of runs in Detroit, in Carolina, reasonable runs, but I was never a huge fan of Mrazek. Yeah. And I'm thinking, okay, I still don't like it. I still don't like the goaltending. And then couple that with a thin blue line after Morgan Riley, Brody, you're nervous. Muzzin's been good.
Yeah.
You're still a little nervous at the back end. Still nervous at the back end. Okay? And you love their forward group. You absolutely love their forward group, except now the second line.
Yeah.
Tavares has disappeared. Where the hell is John Tavares? What is going on? Where's this guy going to be down towards the end of this career at $11 million a year when he's having a hard time getting? He's not driving anything right now.
No.
So that makes me nervous. So they've got some issues right now that hopefully get resolved in the next 20 games. They could play Tampa in the first round. They could play Ford in the first round. They could play whoever in the first round and beat them. But they could also lose easily in the first round.
Oh, 100%. And as you said, and
if that happens, it's going to be ugly.
It is. It is. And you know, that line, Bunting, Matthews, and Marner can only take you so far. You know, you need to have more than just one line. And we all know this. Anyone that listens to this knows that. You know, it's the NHL. It's tough. Tavares, you look at his stats, okay, he's somewhat of a point per game player, but it's just not there. Like he's having a tough time skating. He's getting a tough time getting into those offensive zones. 1 week he's on with Nylander. The next week Nylander's not on his line. Like, you know, and Nylander needs to be better too. You know, Kerfoot's been pretty good for what he's given, but he's been sprinkled throughout the lineup too. You know, and you know, I don't think they've gotten much in great production. Some out of the bottom six. You know, Spezza was going on a run there for a bit, but Simmons needs to give them more. He hasn't given them a lot right now, even in the toughness department at times. I don't know what's going on there, if he's hurt or whatnot. But the concerning part for me comes back to the goaltending again. Last year we saw the same thing with Freddie Anderson, where he was hurt. Yeah. They let him play when he was hurt, and then they let him play, and then it finally got to a point where Freddie couldn't play no more, and then that divided him with the organization. Now I don't know if that's going to happen with Campbell, but I don't like the fact that they let Campbell play knowing that he had this rib injury, because Riley talked about it. He said, I talked to him this morning. He's had this for a while, so he would have had, in my opinion, had to let like Steve Briere and that organization know, which is weird because the Maple Leafs got this bus of players, and then they got this other bus that follows them. They got staff guys for everything. They got like guys are just made to make energy drinks. There's like 7 guys to make a freaking energy drink already for crying out loud with this team. So their analytics to what they do and everything, it's concerning. So and I don't know. They got a week from today is the trade deadline. I don't know. There's a lot of rumors now with Fleury. Does Fleury make sense to come to Toronto for you, Mac?
Well, you know, I mean, I guess he's by far their best option. I mean, we look back at Fleury's playoff success. I mean, it was absolutely phenomenal in the first year in Vegas. And then since that, it's not been great. I
Yeah.
mean, in Vegas, we saw what happened in the San Jose series in the second year after the great run, where I mean, they scored 5 goals in 5 minutes on him, in the middle of the net.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's been good. He's been a wonderful athlete, and he's their best option, I think, by a country mile. But how do they make this work? I
Yeah.
mean,
Capital.
that's their challenge, and for them to have to spend that kind of, I know the cap doesn't count in the playoffs, but to spend this kind of money to to make to make this work without fixing their blue line. I mean, we haven't even talked about the makeup of their third line, which everybody raves about. Everybody raves about Comp and Case and all Cass and all these guys. I'm thinking, are they really playoff type guys?
Yeah.
And you hit Nylander. He has not been great. He's in and out, which is scary. Tavares in and out, which is frightening. Kerfoot to me is really a third line guy, but he's been one of their better performers all year.
Yeah.
He's been pretty consistent. So, their goaltending is a major issue. And now Mrazek's got it in his head. I feel for him. I mean, Mrazek should be a very good backup, but not what he is right now. That's the scary part.
Yeah.
Mrazek is fine as a backup. I hate the 3-9 for a backup, but I mean, they got a lot of holes that they've got to be concerned about right now. And goaltending is one, defense is two, and who drives this bus other than Matthews and Marner? That's the scary part. So they got to get it going. So they does Fleury waive to come to Toronto? Does he want to deal with that? If he comes, is he going to force him into a long-term deal? Is he going to say, I'll come to Toronto, but I want 2 more years at 7?
Yeah.
I mean, then they're really in a hurt.
Yeah. There's real crunch
as to where they go. Yeah. So, that's the challenge.
Yeah. And anytime Jake Muzzin's out of lineup, you can really see the inconsistency and the lack of depth in the blue line, like no disrespect to Timothy Liljegren, but he's over his head right now. He's paired with Morgan Riley on that right side on that first pairing. Go ahead, Mac.
It all comes back to the signing of the 4 guys at the dollars they signed. It has put such a strain on every other aspect of this organization. It comes back to that for 3, 4, 5 years. And here's the scary part. If they don't get this fixed, Matthews is an unrestricted free agent. He and Marner only, what was it, a 5-year deal he signed?
Matthews. Yeah, 5 for Matthews. 5 for Matthews
and 6
for Marner. Yeah, you're right.
Marner, and that's frightening because those years are starting to run out.
Yes,
the runway is getting short, and all of a sudden, where does it go then?
Yeah, and then you have Nylander up too at the same time. Matthews.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So, the runway is sort of short up. So that's why it's so critical. And I don't know if there's another team in the league in the same shape. I mean, I don't know if there is. Tampa's up against it always, but they're deep. You look at that.
Yeah, Almer's done such a great job with that organization on finding players, and even some of the veterans that have come in. The Maroons, the Corey Perrys have done a great job.
Right.
Pierre Edward Belmar too. It's just you're right. It's I think they're missing Zach Bogosian too. He's played pretty good for the Tampa Bay Lightning this year. That's another guy I think they've lost, but I don't blame him going back to Tampa. Got a 2-year deal. So it is concerning, and I don't know if Kyle Dubas will survive another summer if this team doesn't make it past the first round too. And I hate to talk like that, but I just at the end of the day, I was really upset that they let Lou Lamoriello go. In my opinion, you've worked with Lou along your career in the NHL, and you know him better than anyone. But I think this guy's brilliant, and I don't think Lou would have caved in the way Dubas did on these contracts. That's my opinion. I could be wrong, but it's just like
I'm going to tell you this right now. Meaning Shanahan and the board, absolutely love Kyle Dubas.
Yeah.
I mean, Kyle Dubas is a good person. He's a good person. He's a good humanitarian. And I've always liked Kyle. The heat on Shanahan and him, if they lose early, will be over the top.
Yeah.
They have got to at least win a round. Now, I don't know. I never would ever say that somebody will be fired or should be fired because I've been in that position and you hate like,
Yeah.
but all I can know is that they love this guy
Yeah.
and they love Brendan. So, you know what? I don't, you know, I hope they can find a way, win a round, to beat a Florida, to beat a Tampa. It won't be easy.
No.
I'll tell you that.
Yeah, definitely won't. It definitely won't. So we'll switch gears.
But
yeah.
they are capable of it.
Yes, they are.
Capable of it.
Yeah,
You
they
know?
are. They are. And you know what? And I said it earlier this year. I thought this is the best team they've had in 20 years of me being, like the diehard fan, but that was, with the parameters of when things were going good. And, understand you have adversities throughout the year. Go ahead, Mac. Yeah.
In fairness to you, you've had it as tough as anybody because you've got the Leafs and you got the Oilers.
Yes. Yeah.
So it hasn't been an easy 20-year run for you.
No,
it really hasn't.
I'm 37. I feel like I'm 57. So
I feel so you've got to just let it go. You got to let it go and enjoy the game.
Yeah.
You got to take my philosophy in life on now, except I'm a lot older than you. Yeah. You got to just let it go.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that because a couple of people were blowing my phone up yesterday after they lost. Oh, Buffalo 5-2 loss. And I'm like, you know what? And I was pretty nice after, man, you're taking it pretty well. I'm like, man, it's the same song my dad's. I've seen it before. So at the end of the day, they don't know who I am. They don't know I'm a fan or whatever. I don't have no bearing on the outcome of the game, but it's a game for me, but it's their real life, which I understand. But
I remember when I was 10 years of age and Jim Clark, who's the director of pro scouting for Ottawa and was assistant GM in Columbus, we met in second grade. And he and I every day were walking to school. He was a huge Habs fan. I was a big Leafs fan. And it almost got to viciousness between the two of us at 10 years of age, from 10 to 15, about the Habs and the Leafs. That's how intense it was. And I remember getting an autographed stick of the Leafs '67 team from Punch Imlach, and I'm thinking, oh my God, this is the greatest thing that could ever happen to an individual. Punch Imlach happened to be in my father's restaurant one time, and he sent me an autographed stick, and I can still remember seeing these perfect autographs on this Northland hockey stick that I eventually used for road hockey. Like, how dumb was I?
That's awesome. We'll switch gears out west. The Vegas Golden Knights, they're struggling. Under Jack Eichel, I think I saw 4-8-2 is their record with Jack Eichel. Earlier this year when you were on with us, we kind of questioned that signing and, what has Jack done in his career? And he did the ultimate heel turn, and as you would call in the wrestling terms, of said all the right things going into Buffalo, but after the game, he just switched gears and went against the fans there with his comments after the game. But they're not doing so good right now. Chandler Stevenson kind of called everyone out last night after the game. Lost to a good team, like a team that we have a soft spot for in the Columbus Blue Jackets yesterday. But thoughts on the Golden Knights? Obviously, goaltending situation's out. Lehner's not in, and Pacioretty looked like he's fighting it. Stone's not in. They are fought with some injuries. But thoughts on the Golden Knights, Mac?
I talked to a couple of scouts this week that actually watched them live, and they said, Doug, that they're terrible. They're terrible the way they're playing. They sometimes you can over manage and get carried away with it. I mean, to me, it all goes back to the Fleury-Leonard situation. That's where it started. And you bring in a guy that's been up and down in his career, tons of talent, weighs 300 pounds, not in great shape, has challenges throughout his career, and dispose of all-time fan favorite player. I didn't like how it came down.
Mm-hmm.
The Stone acquisition was a great acquisition. It gave up a ton, but he was a great pickup, and he's a great character player. And then with a nagging back injury, you push him aside, and you force him to go out of the lineup, which he was not happy about. Trust me on that.
Yeah.
He was not happy about that coming down. He wanted to maintain the back and work through it. And for him to be pushed out and Eichel be put in, and then we still haven't talked about the defenseman, Martinez,
Yeah.
who can't get in either, apparently. So there's management deals here that have affected, I've got to believe, have affected the morale of this hockey team. This was a team that had a dressing room like none other when they come into this league. They overachieved as a Stanley Cup finalist. They were tough to play against. They were tough to beat. And now with an over appetite because you get owners, I remember Bill Torrey coming to me and saying, when we went to the Stanley Cup Finals, and the next year we lost a really tough series to the Rangers with Gretzky a hell of a Ranger team beat us. And I remember Bill Torrey saying, Wayne's really disappointed. Wayne Huizenga, we went to the finals. He expected us to win the cup this year. I said, are you kidding me, Bill? I mean, this is the NHL. I said, tell him this isn't the Marlins. Tell him to go talk to the Marlins or the Dolphins, see how much they've won.
Yeah.
Of course, then the Marlins win a couple of years later. But anyway, owners get carried away. The owners think it's automatic, and you do some deals that can come back to bite your morale and the chemistry and the look of your team. They don't play the same way right now, this team.
Yeah.
They don't play even close to the way they play. So, there's been coaching changes. George stepped down, went for these high-powered, big pain guys, push guys aside. I don't like a lot of things that have gone on. And right now, they are a bad hockey team, and they're the same now with Leonard out. They need a goaltender.
Yeah.
Leonard better be back for the playoffs. So we'll see what happens. But they just, you still wouldn't want to play them with their talent level. And when when they get Stone back and they get things they'll still be tough at playoffs.
Yeah.
But
and
I question some of the moves. I really question the moves.
No.
And for Eichel to say that, how dumb was that?
Yeah.
Why not just say, hey, young Buffalo team, they played really hard, beat us. And hey, I really enjoyed coming back. End it.
Yeah.
Why go there?
Yeah. Why create more noise? But that's a guy that might like the noise around him, right? I don't know. Like there's some guys that are like that. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah. And you know what? When you like the noise around you, which is fine, when you like the noise around you, you better
accept it though.
Serious.
Yeah.
And you better do some serious damage.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
To play.
Oh, 100. I agree 100% in that. And that's just me because I just think he's got that persona where, even the year when they drafted him and he was, it's like almost like Murray when he drafted him, he was like, oh, I really wanted Connor, and it didn't make him feel like it was welcome, and so maybe there was always that chip on his shoulder there. I don't know, but at the end of the day, I agree with you. Just
I remember talking to Timmy Murray before the draft. I said, Timmy, you're gonna get Matthews or Eichel. You're gonna get one of the two, and I'll never forget. He said to me, Doug, trust me, it's not even close. That's what he said. That was me and him talking.
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't say it now, but he was pretty friggin' accurate.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. I think he kind of said it a few times after he's been out now. So, but yeah, no, I agree. It's crazy how that works, and and yeah, that owner there, he's gung ho on things, and like Turk very well. You guys are best friends, and Petro was with him in Florida and said nothing but great things. Everywhere I've heard it along the way, Mac, like any room that Turk's been around, that room has been very very solid, right? So and you can see it in New York right now too. It's the same thing there, and he's doing a hell of a job with the New York Rangers too. But just a little bit questionable decisions in my opinion, but we'll see what happens there. They need to turn it around real quick. I want to touch on Chris McFarland. I had him in the notes here. I just was hoping we get to it, but get to it now. You had Chris in Columbus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously he's with the Colorado Avalanche now. His name is coming up at times through interviews, and Elliot Friedman pointed out on the weekend, I think it was with Bob Stauffer's show, that he doesn't think this guy's going to get anywhere. He thinks Colorado will just move him up and he'll become the GM in Colorado. But what makes him so good at what he does, Mac, when you're with him in Columbus, when you had him?
Well, Jim Clark hired him as a 29-year-old in our first, when before we started as a hockey operations guy. He graduated from law school, Pace University, but he was a hockey puck. He was a hockey puck. He absolutely lived and loved hockey as a 30-year-old, and he was with me for 11 years, and we moved him up, and he became a right-hand man for the hockey operations department. Every move we made, it was a sit down with Jim Clark and our key people, but he was always there. And he was a terrific guy. I just talked to him 3 days ago because, and I probably should say, but I sent a note to the owner of Vancouver when they let Jim Benning go, and I said, hey, this is a name, none of my business, Francisco, but this is a guy I think you guys should talk to, Chris McFarland.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I know that he's on lists. I know he's been reached out to, and I also know that he did an interview in Vancouver because he right now he's staying in Colorado, and I would have to say that Elliot is accurate to that. I don't know when Joe will step down. I have no idea, but he'll either be a GM in Colorado or he will be somewhere else. He's just a good, and he's, you know what? I phoned him the other day as I wanted to talk, we were talking about the deadline and stuff, but he's a good person, and he's a workhorse, and he's an astute guy. He's got a great handle on the paperwork side of the management business, which is important. He's got a good handle on analytics, and he understands where it fits. I think he just has a good feel for the game. He's a good man, really good man.
No, it's good to hear. You always hear the name come up, and I know you've talked about him a few times with us, and want to kind of dive in deeper with that. It's he seems like he's great for the game, and Elliot said the same thing too. He doesn't know when that would happen when Joe goes.
And now it's kind of funny. Like I looked the other day. I think he's 52 or something, and I just think, like, where do the years go here? When we hired him before we entered the league in Columbus, and he worked with us, the previous year to getting started with all the, doing all the mock drafts and everything going into the expansion draft and stuff. So anyway, it was, I hope I talk to him probably a couple times a year, and I hope that, I hope everybody's right that he get, guys that are that good typically get a chance.
They do. Yeah. Hopefully his chance comes. There's a few in the game that are creeping there that are going to be new names for some new hockey fans, but some names for guys, that have known the game pretty well, getting that opportunity. We'll got to touch on Rick Nash here. This was kind of cool. Got his jersey retired a few weeks ago. He was on Elliot's podcast with Jeff Merrick too there, and talked about when you got mad at him when he got in his first NHL fight. You came down the hallway. He's never really told that story before. I don't know if you want to kind of elaborate a little bit more on that story, and then how much it means to you to see that his jersey got retired in Columbus. Huge, and you were a huge part of that too, making sure that happened. So,
well, you know what? It's funny. I'd forgot all about that, because he told the story at center ice at Nationwide Arena in front of 19,000 fans the Saturday night in the Bruins game. We flew in for the weekend and just had a great weekend. The Blue Jackets did an unbelievable job of that night. And Rick, this is a guy that played in the NHL at 18 years of age, won the Rocket Richard in his second year at 19 years of age. And he doesn't miss a beat. He gave a speech at center ice, and I spoke, Hitch spoke, JD spoke, numerous few people, but Aaron Johnson, who was his bus buddy, who was also a draft pick among him, they started with the Blue Jackets together, gave a phenomenal speech. Aaron Johnson did. It was great. Jared Bowl was on the ice. I went to the VIP thing after. I met Dorsett was there and ran into Umberg. All the Blue Jackets alumni were there. I spent a lot of time with Jody and Dorse, and it was just a marvelous weekend. And Rick Nash spoke, and he never missed a beat.
Yeah,
he never missed anybody. along the way. I mean, he's just such a classy, good person. We talked about CMAC, Chris McFarland.
Yeah.
This is a similar type of person, just a good guy that thinks about everybody. And whether you're the radio guy, whether you work in the arena, he treats everybody really well. And the kid, he was a good hockey player. I'm frustrated by the fact that I could never find the best centerman I ever found for him was Andrew Castles in his career in Columbus. Mm-hmm. It was hard. I mean, he and Viborny played together, and Viborny was a great player for him. Viborny was it was funny. I hadn't seen David Viborny. He was on the podium or on the video board before the game, wishing him good luck. But you know what? It was a marvelous weekend. Nasher he was a great, great player, and he was a great person. He really was a great person. And it was great to see. I really enjoyed the weekend,
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. He's just that interview with Elliott, and I've just followed him as a fan, and of it throughout his career, and and Brule's always talked very highly of him, and guys like that. It's just no, good for the game. I'm happy he's kind of still involved, and obviously he wants to be a GM some point in his career, so he's got great people around him to learn from, even yourself and Kipalainen in there. So no, things are good with him. It was good to see. It's a good organization in my opinion, and you're a huge part of getting that organization off the ground and running, and it means a lot to see that. So before we let you go, we'll touch on the Alberta teams here, and then we'll finish off. But we'll switch gears there, and thoughts on the Calgary Flames play this year. In my opinion, probably one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NHL right now. Tough loss last night, but Colorado's also in that category of saying one of the best teams. And but thoughts on their season to date, and what Daryl Sutter brings every day as a head coach, and you can see the accountability with the players too.
Well, to me, it starts in one place. And it was Brad Treliving has taken some heat, but I'll tell you what, the Markstrom acquisition has put this team over the top. And he was sitting there, and Benning made a decision to go buy him whatever in God's name. I know Demko's good, I know that, but for that guy to walk out the door, nothing is bizarre.
Yes.
That is a premier MVP goaltender that walked.
And you probably don't. That doesn't get probably talked about enough, Mac, too, with the 9 shutouts this year. But you're right. Go ahead. Yeah, finish on that.
He is the guy that has given them great stability in goal. It goes back to Kiprasov, some of the greatest goaltenders that have played, the Vernons that have played.
Yeah,
this guy is an all-star, and when you've got that type of goaltending, you've got a chance. Then you couple that with Daryl coming in. So Treliving deserves a ton of credit. So then you got Daryl coming in. Daryl has sort of, taken all the excuses away from this group. Goudreau was sputtering here. Goudreau and Monahan were in trouble.
Yes.
And there was some big conversation. What are we going to do with these guys, these so-called best players? Daryl has taken that. Monahan still got his challenge, but Goudreau has gone to another level. Daryl deserves credit for that. And what Daryl does, he takes all the noise away. He doesn't allow this noise to be fluttering around the organization because he hits it head on.
Oh, yeah.
He's that type of guy. So, you know what? They're a good team. And, some guys have stepped up. Lindholm's been good. Edgiapani's been good. The young defensemen are developing. I mean, you wouldn't want to play them. No. You would not want to play them. Big Luch has stepped up. Stepped up. And it's really funny. I saw a mock draft. How people redo the drafts. And I saw a mock draft of the 06 draft, which was the Eric Johnson, Taves, Kessel, Backstrom draft. Okay? Yep. Kessel draft. And I took Broussard at 6, who's had a pretty good career. I think he's played it close to 1,000 games. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I saw a remake of that draft the other day, and if that draft was redone, 6th pick would have been Milan Lucic on his career.
Yeah.
And then I saw then Minnesota would have taken Broussard at 9 instead of James Shepard. And the Leafs, with the 13th pick in that draft, would have taken Mason. Yeah. I picked in the 3rd round. So I really like that mock draft.
Yeah.
I had two first round picks. But yeah, anyway, so it's funny. And Luch has taken some serious heat there. And don't think Daryl Sutter hasn't helped Luch find his game.
Yes.
So, like, it all comes back to me, Markstrom is 1, Daryl is 2, and then, give the credit to the players that have But Daryl, isn't it amazing how there's no noise around that organization?
Well, I was saying, I was texting with Luch yesterday, and I was just we're trying to get some other guys on the pod, and just saying that to him, like he's going to help us out, trying to line something up, and it's just, you're right. I look there and I'm just like there was so much noise. There was he's done and he can't play again. And it was interesting. Right. He actually tweeted something out earlier in the year, and I don't know how he found it, but he ended up liking the tweet and sent me a message, and thanks for sticking up for me and all that. I'm like, no, man, but it's you. It's he did it with Sutter, and he's done good. Yeah. I know if you look at the stats lately, he's in a bit of a rut and whatnot, but the fact is they don't need him to score goals every night.
Yeah. Hey, they know. They know. Yeah. He Luch gets it. He's a winner. Yes. He's a winner, and he gets what it takes to win. And he did it in Boston. He did it in, where he's been.
LA.
LA. It's all about him, and whatever he has to do at the end, he'll do to win. So, full Markstrom, you wouldn't want to play them. I'll tell you that. No,
you wouldn't. You would not. And we'll finish up on the Edmonton Oilers. Coaching change there. The heat still there. They're in a dogfight to make the playoffs, but Koskinen is 5-1-1 under Woodcroft. He's kind of got that fresh, start with a new coach, and I think Tippett's still a good coach. I don't know I don't know if the players lost track with him or whatnot there. I don't know what you if you want to comment on that, what maybe you saw, but the importance of them making the playoffs this year, Mac, and how much that's going to mean for them, and because I don't think they can afford to miss it.
Well, I love reading my good friend Spector, because it's like a guy that's dating a girlfriend, and you get mad at them one week, and the next week you love them, and you get mad at them the next week and you love them, and then they lose a game and you hate her, and then you love her and you hate her. It's like a love fest between Speck and the Oilers. I can't wait to read it, because he gets so mad when they lose, and he's so happy when they win. So look, it all comes back to the same thing for me is, you're right. This is a team that's got to make the playoffs, and it's all about the goaltending. Mm-hmm. I mean, you said Koskinen's 5-1-1 with Woodcroft. Great. Yeah. I like Woodcroft. He's been a lifer. He's a young guy, but he's been around. I mean, I remember when he was in Detroit. I remember talking to him about University of Alabama Huntsville, and my son was playing junior, about going to school there.
Yeah,
and you know what? He sort of seems to have brought it together. And Tip's a good coach. It drove Tip crazy. He didn't deserve to get fired because goaltending was a joke. It was a joke the way they were playing.
Yes.
So Koskinen's bounced back. When you look at it and you say, okay, who's going to get in? Dallas are up and down. I mean, Heiskanen's out right now. Some little things like that could be the difference makers here, getting in or not. And I'm with you, but I'd be scared to death to count on Koskinen. That's what would scare me.
Yeah.
But they're good enough. I want to see Connor McDavid in the playoffs.
It's an injustice. Really it's an injustice that we don't get to see him, in a long kind of playoff run,
exactly.
It's good for the game.
We saw a glimpse of it one year.
Yeah.
And he's got to get in the playoffs, and Koskinen, that makes me really nervous.
Yeah.
But
you can't count on.
Maybe
Yeah.
No, you can't count on him. You
No,
just simply
right
can't.
and right now you can't count on Smith. Obviously, like the injury
No.
with him and whatnot. I guess it maybe age, father time
Yeah.
has kind of caught up with
Yeah.
him and
Yeah.
whatnot. But Koskinen, yes, he's 5-1-1, and he's 9-1-2. In his last 12 starts in
Hey,
general. So
hey,
so maybe they
listen.
hit something here. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Right. In fairness the heat this guy has taken,
Oh, it's
and
unreal.
for him to be 9-2-1, whatever he is,
Yeah.
I'm serious, because this guy has taken as much abuse as any goaltender in the history of the game has taken. Deservedly so, but for him to at least bounce back like this, it tells you something about him. It
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
I don't even know the guy, but I'll tell you what, it tells something about him.
Yeah. One last one there. Paul Coffey's been around the organization a lot lately here. And one of our sponsors through our podcast is good friends with Shadified Salon and Barbershop, who's one of our sponsors. They take care of the Oilers for all getting their haircuts and whatnot. And and Coffey's been around a lot. So how much is that? Do you think, do you weigh into that? Is that a good thing, bad thing for you, Mac? Obviously the pedigree that Coffey has, but they do got some young defensemen. Do you think he's more there for that, or is there another reason why he might be, come back around again?
Koff, I'll tell you about Koff. I know when he was around there before, it wasn't going over that well.
Mm-hmm.
With the coaching staff and the mix, it just, Gretz was there, Koff was there. It was just a little bit uneasy with the management group. That. And Koff's a good man. I remember meeting him and Wayne at the I'm not sure if it was the Westin or one of the hotels. And I was in town doing a game, and we sat at the bar, Koff and I and Wayne and Keith, for a long time, and had a great chat, great reminiscing chat. Koff, the difference right now is Koff and Colin have a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and a good relationship from being together in Detroit, and some really, so I think Koff comes in, and Koff also is a student of the game. He's a student of the game. This guy was an unbelievable player, but he was also a real student of the game. And you have talks with Wayne or Paul Coffey about hockey. He is an intelligent hockey guy, and he's got he knows how he played, and he
Yeah.
knows how the game has to be played. I think he could bring some great insight, and I know he's a hockey man.
Yeah.
Funny story. He was playing for us in Detroit. And Mrs. Illich, who was like the financier of the organization, Marion Illich,
Yeah.
she called me. I was assistant GM at the time. She said, "Doug, can you explain one thing to me? Why have I bought Paul Coffey 22 pairs of skates this year, and Steve Yzerman has only wore one pair? Can you tell me that?" That's how much she watched what was going on with the Red Wings.
Yeah.
But Koff wanted his skates. I said, because he's the best skater in the world.
Yeah.
And he likes skates when they come right out of the box. And he even has them stitched when he brings them out of the box. That's how stiff he wants them.
Yeah.
And he sharpens his own skate. Anyway, I love Koff, and I think he could be a plus for a lot of teams.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's very well said. One last thing. Your son's an agent. We had Matt Benning on, who's with that agency. Benning's been on with us a few times this year. Thought, and obviously there's another connection to the Predators. Myers is it was with that agency too. So, but how cool was it to see Craig Anderson get his 300th win? For that agency, it was pretty sweet. And the great things your son's doing right now with being an NHL agent. It's Clark, right? Your son's name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He works. Yeah, he's with ASM in Chicago, and Craig's been with them with his group for 20 years. So Clark's, sort of a partner now with the company, and he's finding his way. He's got some kids. He has Sean Crowley is one of his clients, but he's also, they've got Myers, they've got Johnson, they've got Zach McEwen, the tough PEI kids, and what I love is that he's got kids, and he's got Green, who's in Tampa Bay's organization, who was a Cornell kid. He's got Hall in Boston that come out of Yale, and following the American League kids and wondering if they're going to make it is really. And he's got Jeff Smallman, who plays in Chicago, who Carolina absolutely love as a bottom six call-up guy. So he's sort of finding his way and grinding. He's got a bunch of young, he recruits midgets, and you hope they turn out. It's a grind, but he's loving it. I mean, some teams have talked to him about, working for them. And he sort of says, I want to try to make it here. I want to try to make it. So we'll see what happens,
Yeah, got a bright future for sure. So
We'll see.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Mac. It means a
Hey,
lot.
bud,
Everything
anytime.
you do for me and checking in and whatnot. I can't appreciate that enough. And you again, as always, a great help to us. So thank you so much for your time and enjoy the next few weeks here. Should be interesting with the trade deadline and see what shakes down. But thanks again.
Yeah, no, anytime, man. And good luck. Keep it going. I love seeing your tweets and following you guys. So all the best, man.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. Have a good one. You
Okay,
too.
bud. Yeah.
Take care.